Coming up, healthier choices, the rising demand for premium meat.
Thank you.
Motoring on, a new device that helps fuel go further. And liquid gold, finding new markets for Tassie honey.
The most special part about our honey is it's all sourced from wild landscapes.
Hello, I'm Ricardo Gonsalves and welcome to Small Business Secrets. With global food production in focus this week, did you know that Australia is one of the world's most food-secure nations? Agriculture alone returns more than $60 billion to the economy each year. In total, 135,000 farms produce enough to feed 80 million people, more than 3 times our population. So we export around $30 billion worth of food each year, mainly meat, wheat and dairy. However, rising concern over the use of farm chemicals has lifted the demand for organic products by around 30% per year. Next, we meet a Sydney butcher who sells premium meat sourced from a biodynamic farm. While prices are higher, he says customers are increasingly happy to pay for healthier choices, as Sarah Dowling reports.
Thank you.
Australians have a growing appetite for sustainable produce, and one Sydney butcher is feeding the demand.
We look for farms that are rearing their animals outside, not using chemicals or antibiotics.
Mr Baillie's butcher caters to health-conscious customers, and though his prices are higher, he says they're happy to pay more for a premium product.
On the card, there you are.
While the big supermarkets have priced many butchers out of business, the Rozelle community is backing their local vendor.
See you at the pub again. Yeah, see you at the pub. I thought that this business model would work here. I think there's a lot of people in the area that care about where their food comes from. They're environmentally conscious. They support small business as well. Thanks, have a good day.
The former carpenter's appreciation for sustainable farming developed while he was living in London.
I've always enjoyed cooking, so I stumbled upon a butcher in Balham. He gave me a go at JD'ASYFK Butchers. He was specialising in organic meat. It was really good to learn the respect for the animal and where it comes from and how it's been raised.
Steve returned to Australia in 2013 and took out a lease on his own store a year ago. While determined to continue those sustainable principles, over recent months, he started to feel the impact of the drought.
Steve sources pasture-fed produce direct from New South Wales farmers. With the entire state now affected by drought, supply is starting to dry up.
I hope it rains. Yeah, I really hope it rains, because if it doesn't rain, we're going to be in trouble.
"200 kilometres west of Sydney, fifth-generation farmer Paul Kurtz and daughter Tammy are feeling the impact of the dry conditions.
Tammy produces the lamb, the Linden lamb. I run beef cattle. At the moment, with the drought, we've put in a huge amount of work to try and keep up to Steve and to keep the product coming.
But it's an expensive job. Soaring feed prices mean costs are outweighing revenue.
We've just bought another load of grain and it cost us somewhere in the vicinity of treble what it would have cost us 18 months ago. I think if that keeps going, it's going to be batten down the hatches in survival mode, not trying to do the right thing and, you know, keep our product coming through to the butchers.
Tightening supply has already seen lamb prices soar to record highs. Out of Steve's 4 lamb producers, Linden is the only farm still able to fill regular orders.
Farmers are an independent lot, you know, I mean, that's why we're farmers, because we like to do our own thing. And farmers, generally speaking, hate taking handouts. But there's times when they have to. And this is one top, and they have to.
It's just, yeah, it's tough, but, you know, there are people that are a lot worse off than us, so, yeah, like I said, I'm grateful for what I do have, yeah.
Times are tough on the land, but Paul and Tammy have found a niche. More than 2 decades ago, the farm transitioned to using organic, biodynamic practices.
Biodynamics is very much based on the soil and having your soil balanced and having your soil healthy.
Biodynamic farming uses organic principles and is free of artificial fertilisers, pesticides and synthetic chemicals. Paul and Tammy's farm is Demeter certified, a trademark that recognises the strictest biodynamic standards in Australia.
I started to ring a few butchers and they'd say, you know, we've got some organic biodynamic food. Oh, yeah. And you'd mention Demeter and they'd say, what's this now? What did you say you got? Click that, you know, you're not just another fella that's going to call himself organic. The man's there and it's known as quality.
It is. Which
is why we went that way.
It has the integrity. The market's huge. Like I could sell 3 times the lambs that I have, but I can't produce them. I don't have the land, and there's not a lot of Demeter biodynamic lamb out there.
Tammy runs over 500 white Suffolk ewes on the 1,000-acre property.
G'day guys, how's it going? Just bought you some beer.
Thank you.
Good.
Steve has come out to the farm to check out the animals.
Yeah, cows are looking good.
Yeah, no, they're not too bad.
The Demeter certification has been a win-win for all.
These guys are...
They'll be steers to you in another, 6 or 8 months probably.
It's always good to, you know, develop this relationship between the farmer and the butcher shop.
People in Sydney, they want to know where it's come from and how it was produced, and they want a story.
Yep.
Which is important that they know that.
They're great people to deal with. Very passionate, like myself, about, you know, whole animals, animal welfare.
The challenge for whole animal butchers like Steve is promoting sustainable practices beyond the paddock to the plate.
A whole carcass of beef or lamb or whatever, it's not all cutlets and I fillet. You just got to know how to cook them.
Nose to tail.
Australians are among the highest consumers of red meat in the world.
Everyone likes an eye fillet because it's tender, it's really quick to cook and really hard to muck up.
But an overwhelming proportion of demand is for the prime cuts.
So when you're eating your eye fillet at home, you're eating 2% of the cow. So using the whole animal has its challenges, especially when people want steaks.
To optimise sales, Steve uses value-adding techniques.
These are the famous Broomfield pies. It's a good way of moving the whole animal and getting extra markup on it. On a good week, we'll sell 100 of these, and I can tell you that these pies have Paul Kurt's biodynamic beef in them.
New labelling laws are also working in Steve's favour.
People are prepared to pay for a good product and to know where their food comes from. You'll be happy to know that that's a happy pig from a good farm.
Yeah. The business is still young, but is building a loyal following, with around 75% of sales coming from repeat customers.
People like to try before they buy, so this is a good way of the smell bringing them closer to the shop. Has a bit of spice to it, doesn't it? And then luring them inside.
While Steve is looking to expand the business slowly, he says a key ingredient to his success has been a supportive partner.
This is Rachel. You know what they say, behind every good man's a good woman. Give us a kiss.
Oh, you can't.
Still ahead on Small Business Secrets. Honeypots, sweet success in the Tassie bushland.
It's a completely naturally organic honey.
And how new technology is helping your fuel go further.
Thousands of people out there that are using our product every day.
That's next. Stay with us. In small business news this week, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg is to lead a new drought task force aimed at providing funding relief to drought-affected farmers and small businesses. The task force, which also includes some major banks, promises to consider and respond to business grievances in rural and regional areas. Many vendors have suffered a downturn in trade amid the ongoing drought. New South Wales Business Chamber research has found that drought is a major contributor to a decline in small business confidence across the state. At least 84% of businesses reported negative effects in August, with New England, North West and the Central West experiencing the sharpest deterioration in confidence. The Drought Task Force is in addition to the federal government's recent announcement of a $1.8 billion assistance package. And the government plans to fast-track by 5 years a reduction in the company tax rate for small and medium businesses. The Prime Minister says that under the plan, the tax rate will fall to 26% in 2020, 2021 and 25% in 2021-2022. And for unincorporated SMEs that are entitled to a discount, the plan to reduce tax to 16% by 2026-2027 will also be brought forward by 5 years. The tax cut fast-track legislation will be introduced when Parliament resumes next week. It's anticipated around 3 million businesses employing about 7 million people will benefit from the change in legislation. With petrol prices soaring, drivers are looking for new ways to maximise fuel efficiency. Danny Adams is an aerospace engineer who's devised a device to boost performance and improve efficiency. Pressure at the pump with petrol prices hovering near 4-year highs. Now, drivers are turning to new technologies to make the most of each trip, like Sydney startup GOFAR.
Most people using GOFAR tend to reduce their fuel usage by about 10%.
The patented hardware was designed by former aerospace engineer Danny Adams. It works by tapping into the car's computer, sending real-time feedback to a mobile app and dashboard device.
It started off as a project around measuring emissions in cars. Actually, the way that people drive their cars has a big impact on the amount of fuel they use. And it glows in response to your driving behaviour. So when you're driving calmly and efficiently, you'll see that it's glowing a nice calm blue. But if you brake aggressively or accelerate aggressively, it starts to glow a bright red.
In 2013, with a prototype in place, Danny took the leap of faith and quit his full-time job.
During a week of sleepless nights when I was sort of making that decision, I got an email from the US Patent Office saying that my patents were approved, well ahead of schedule. It's really difficult to get investment as an individual. Unless you've done it before, you can't imagine how tough it is to get in and start your own business.
Moving into a co-working space was key in growing the business.
Ultimately, some of those people wanted to come and work on the business and join the team. And once there was a team, then we attracted the attention of some investors. Can I show you something? So investors really want a team of 2 or 3 co-founders. That's the sweet spot for them, because, you know, 2 people can keep each other going through the dark days.
But Danny was still unsure if there was a market for his product. He launched a Kickstarter campaign to test demand.
We had pre-sales of around 225,000 Australian dollars worth of GOFAR units, which was great because then we were able to use that money to fund the production.
The product has been particularly popular with business owners due to its tracking features.
I can just swipe right. It's like Tinder for expenses.
It also scans for any mechanical issues.
And I can pop here and here, and I can see the quote and actually book this service, and the mechanic will come to me.
Rego reminders and fuel consumption.
This is the trip that we did today, and I can just pop in and have a look at that. So I can see where I was red and where I was blue on that particular trip, and even see the cost. So it was $1.84 worth of fuel that we used on that trip today, and we travelled 13.9 kilometres.
Danny recently participated in the City of Sydney's Visiting Entrepreneur program, where he received advice from high-profile international executives.
We got to ask questions and really get some of the tips from product management from Silicon Valley is really where this stuff is born.
While GOFAR is yet to turn a profit, the business is experiencing rapid growth.
We've had 700+% growth year on year, which we're very excited about. Many thousands of users across 52 countries in the world. Currently, the vast majority of our sales are through our own website, but during the course of this year, some order distribution and also other partner distributors. Because there's not going to be any function for it. There's thousands of people out there that are using our product every day. It's really fun and engaging, and lots of people really like to compete on the leaderboard. It's having a small, hopefully positive impact on their lives and on the world at large, and that's something that's really exciting.
Asia has a growing appetite for natural Australian products, including homegrown honey. Next, we meet a honey producer based in Tasmania who's cashing in on this liquid gold. Lynn Evelyn visited his hives to find out more.
Like bees around a honey pot, this liquid gold has a devoted following and is returning a small fortune to this small business, the Tasmanian Honey Company.
The most special part about our honey is it's all sourced from wild landscapes, basically, so it's a completely naturally organic honey. There's no farming, there's no industry, no pollution of any sort. And it has a wild vitality that gives it all sorts of health-promoting benefits.
The golden harvest is this, pure leatherwood honey. The bees gather pollen from the flowers of ancient leatherwood trees, growing in Tasmania's pristine rainforests.
Our leatherwood is the only one that produces this very distinctive flavoured honey. The only part in the world that it actually grows. And it's quite unlike any other honey. It's a flagship for Tasmania and for our business.
The smoke is giving them the warning that we're coming.
Yes, we're coming. That's it. Make them go away. Come on, bee. Beekeepers now, we're just starting to go through our hives for the first major spring inspection, put new queens in.
I can't see her.
There she is.
Ah, there.
There's a long, pointy abdomen. Try it, see if you can taste it.
So fresh.
My background was growing up on a farm in the central part of Tasmania. The men on the farm hunted the wild bees, the annual honey supply for their families.
After working for several years in the corporate world, Julian decided on a return to a life on the land.
The concept of becoming a beekeeper and producer of honey re-emerged, and it's been the course of my life since.
Once he started the business, Julian struggled to produce and manage enough bees to run a profitable enterprise.
Toward the end of the 80s, I realised that the only way that we could control our pricing was by having our own recognised brand.
These days, the business manages over 1,800 bee colonies. It's labour-intensive with a high cost of production.
The challenge has been how to find funds to be able to promote and market and maintain a supply.
And recently, new markets have emerged.
Online sales has enabled us to access a lot of our potential customers, particularly in Hong Kong and mainland China.
This is the production site where the honey is extracted and packed away. Last year, the business produced 200 tonnes of honey. That's equivalent to about 500,000 of these jars.
Julian's also supported by service partners, who are e-commerce experts in Asia.
Australia Post has helped us enormously by providing a flat rate service that can deliver our goods quickly and efficiently and cost effectively to those markets. Australia Post can assist businesses like mine going forward through their other online platforms such as Growing Global.
In a market rocked by allegations of fake honey, Julian stands by his brand.
It's really good for honeys like ours because it just proves the value that there is in having a local production.
And this Launceston local couldn't be more proud of what he's achieved.
Set out as a young person with a dream about what our Tasmania, my native island, could produce, and I've been able to take that product, put it in a world market and build a brand that has stood the test of time.
And now we check in with Biton Cafe and Bistro, a French-inspired restaurant we visited in 2016. It's run by Sohani and David Biton, who are celebrating 18 successful years in Sydney's Alexandria. Despite new figures showing the average life of an Australian restaurant is just 18 months.
Got the big burger?
The couple also runs another venue, Biton Oatly, a 5-star gourmet cafe that's clocked up 2 busy years, offering seasonal menus, including degustation dinners.
We're not just a cafe, we are so much more, you know. We have a product range, but we've also got a consulting business as well. So for us, it's constant reinvention.
Now, their range of jams, chutneys and dressings are also selling overseas, finding markets in New Zealand and Dubai. And David's recipe book has passed 60,000 sales. Though they admit to making mistakes, the couple has this advice for anyone starting out.
Biggest advice I would say is get someone that understands numbers, get a financial controller in your business, that the cash flow is open on a screen all the time.
Their latest venture, supplying gourmet Christmas catering so that people, no matter where they live, can celebrate the festive season in style. And that is it for the program. If you'd like to contact us, you can find us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. And don't forget, you can watch Small Business Secrets in your time, anytime on SBS On Demand. I'm Ricardo Gonçalves. I'll see you next time. Next week on the program, Veteran Venture, a military-style fitness business, and the couple behind a successful Victorian wine venue. Small Business Secrets, next Sunday at 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. on SBS.